Hello, everyone. My name is Sidney, and over the past few months, I was fortunate to have completed my practicum at Island Health within the Health Protection and Environmental Services Department. I wanted to first acknowledge that I am presenting to you today on the unceded traditional territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh Nations, on whose land and waterways I live, work, and play. For my project, I looked at longer-term sustainable housing solutions to address housing and homelessness and grounded it on Salt Spring Island. I examined case studies of tiny house villages to see what model would be the best fit for Salt Spring Island. So Salt Spring Island is the largest and most populated Southern Gulf island with approximately 10,600 residents. It has close to double the rate of single detached houses compared to the rest of the Capital Regional District. In the province, Salt Spring Island has the highest per capita rate of homelessness. The 2018 point in time count found 131 people experiencing homelessness on Salt Spring, and this is a 58% increase since the 2016 count. In both the Community Health Needs Assessment and Poverty Reduction Consultation, residents suggested tiny house villages to address homelessness and the housing needs on Salt Spring Island. While there is no single definition of a tiny house, they tend to be less than 500 square feet, a single housing unit, and can be on wheels or on a temporary or permanent foundation. They can be built for less than $10,000 and range to over $100,000. These homes may have heating and plumbing in units or shared facilities on site. And as we go through some of these case studies, you'll start to get an idea of the range of tiny house villages which exist. So this first one here is Opportunity Village. It's located in Eugene, Oregon, and is a transitional village home to 35 residents on a 1-acre lot. The village is operated by a nonprofit called Square One Villages, but the residents actually self-manage through a resident council and community agreement. The homes do not have electricity or plumbing. There is a central living room with Wi-Fi, shared kitchen, and a bathhouse with toilets, shower, and laundry. The operating cost is $30,000 a year, and the fee for residents is $35 a month, plus the contribution of volunteer hours are required. Past residents report corrupt governance could interfere with the efficacy of the village and rule enforcement of the manual. And even though transitional planning is encouraged, the lack of services can make this really difficult. They are also located further away from town, but Square One provides bus passes to help alleviate costs. A challenge which residents faced when they were ready to move out was the lack of affordable housing available. 85% of residents do agree, though, that Opportunity Village has increased their ability to provide for themselves. This next one is TC Spirit Village, and it was opened in April 2020 as a collaboration between the Christ Spirit Church and Seattle Human Services Department. It came together in less than 1 month as a response to COVID-19 and is managed by the Low Income Housing Institute. The 28 units have heating and electricity, and there are also shared facilities on site. Residents here have access to 24/7 services, so the operating cost is significantly more. It's $464,000 a year. Case management is also required, and the case manager notes that appropriate referrals are key as some individuals are not interested in the program and abandon their tiny home. I think this example really shows that if the desire is there, collaboration can quickly propel these projects forward. Quixote Village is located in Olympia, Washington, and has 30 homes on a 2-acre lot. Unlike the others, they offer permanent supportive housing. Quixote Village originated as Camp Quixote, a tent city, and was granted an ordinance by the city to settle on church property. However, they had to rotate properties every 3 to 6 months. This was the beginning of the relationship with the city and camp and the establishment of the nonprofit Panza. The units cost $19,000 each, and they have heating, electricity, and a half bath. There is a shared community building, and services are provided on site. The yearly operating cost is $250,000 a year, and the residents' rent is 30% of their income. And this last case is Homes for Heroes, which is located in Calgary. It opened in 2019 and is a community specifically for veterans. The goal is for veterans to stay for up to 2 years as they reintegrate back into civilian life. There are 15 units with a full bathroom and full kitchen, and each cost $70,000. There is also a central amenities and resource center, and a full-time support counselor is located on site and works with each resident to create a support plan to transition to self-sufficiency. It's located near transportation and amenities, and the rent is $600 a month. So after reviewing some of these case examples, which one would be the best fit for Salt Spring? Of the case studies presented, I think that Salt Spring Island may most benefit from a model similar to Quixote Village, as Salt Spring Island has very limited affordable rental housing available. Residents of a transitional tiny house community likely would face a roadblock of finding appropriate housing after their stay, similar to what happened to residents of Opportunity Village. So here are some photos of Quixote's home and common building. Having easy access to a toilet and sink is important for hygiene, and a personal half bath, especially in this COVID-19 time, is beneficial for individuals isolating and minimizes the need for using shared facilities. However, a unique challenge which Salt Spring Island faces is water security and access. So they may need to identify their own water source, such as from wells, or they may choose to contain all of the plumbing within a common building and forego the personal washroom. A permanent supportive housing model would provide easier access to services and more stability for residents so that they can move out of the village when they are ready to, or if they choose to do so themselves. 68% of Quixote's residents report improved physical health, and 45% report improved mental health. A key feature to tiny house villages are the resident councils, and at Quixote Village, they play an advisory role rather than self-governance. And so they discuss resident responsibilities, concerns, activities, as well as shape and build the leadership in their community. And unlike Opportunity Village's self-governance, and with Square One Village providing oversight, the nonprofit Panda is much more involved with the operations, which is recommended to ensure rule enforcement and that if any issues arise, they are addressed appropriately. Many tiny house villages invite the greater community through open houses or tours so that members of the public can learn about the housing model, as seen here. Nonprofit operators can help bridge and extend connections between residents, greater community, and other organizations. Inviting community interaction builds relationships, provides an opportunity to address concerns, and increases public exposure. Tiny house villages may be more approachable for the public and less isolating than a camp for residents. I think it's important to consider that tiny house villages are an alternative to, and not necessarily a replacement for, traditional shelters or modular housing found in other cities. With the current zoning and bylaws in place, tall buildings do not seem to be a desire for Salt Spring Island. Tiny house communities can come together quickly and can be a housing solution for people facing or are at risk of homelessness. Not only do they act as a shelter, but it provides a means of improving their health and livelihoods too. The design is fitting and can complement the current housing stock on Salt Spring Island.